Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's custom 6v6 action this afternoon, featuring, well, I'd say an eclectic mix, but it's mostly Joes and a couple of pros thrown in there for good measure, so it's ostensibly average Joe's day today here at Guilecast. Those masters of mediocrity returning once more to show us why they should have paid more attention in school. And the best news is no news, we can go straight to the action. It's going down on this generated map. We will talk more about that in just a moment. First of all, let's make our introductions. We'll give these guys some time, allow them to gate in, and we'll call this Team 1 up here at the top left, this Team 2 down here at the bottom right. Going first for Team 1, we'll start at the top of the screen in Cyanide Cyan. It's Glassy going UEF, a terribly sensible opening first land. Team member number 2 for Team 1, to his left in Baby Blue, our first Cyberian of the day, bless him, it's Caliber opening first land. Team member number 3, up on the top left corner edge here, it's God of War, another Cyberian, this time in Regal Purple, opening first land. Team member number 4 in Mellow Yellow, going Aeon, our first one of the day, it's Furfer, there he is opening first land. Next up in this season's fabulous Vivacious Violet, it's Homie, or Holmy, Homie, is that how you spell Homie? I don't know. What's up, Homie? Ugh, I'm so British. I don't know, is that how you spell it or not? Answers in the comment section below. Farming that question out to the cartel and gang members in my audience. It's a small but vital and growing group. There he is anyway, going Cyberian opening first land. And last but not least, beneath him in Baby Pink, we have Dulatha going Seraphim opening first land, going second air, queued up next to it. Look, so there you have it. Racial makeup of Team 1 comprises of 3 Cyberian, an Aeon, a Seraphim, and a UEF. Checking out Team 2 now, we'll start down here with a burgundy red Cyberian. It's Tassin, he's gone first land. Team member number 2 for Team 2 in Baby Blue, it's Just Men. Other hair dyeing brands are available. No. Or maybe it sounds like a magazine actually for Just Men. There he is anyway. Going Seraphim, opening first land, and going second air. Team member number 3 to his right in Ferrari red, we have Ayahuasca. Not sure what the Dest means, but Ayahuasca Dest, and he is going Aeon, opening first land. Team member number 4 in Halib orange to his right once again, it's Cheerios or Cheerios. I think it's Cheerios. Might be Cheerios. But anyway, going first land, going Seraphim, and going second air. Next up, team member number 5 in Pontiff White. Above him, it's Cholerica Klaus. We'll call him Klaus today because it's just easier. Going Seraphim, opening first land. And last but not least, going UEF in Elephantine Grey on his way to the top corner. It's Kaiser Wilhelm. So the 2 Germans hanging out together at the top right-hand corner there of Team 2. And their starting locale. So there we have it. Racial makeup there for Team 2, comprised of 3 Seraphim, an Aeon, a Cyberian, and a UEF. Now, the map, there's not really a great deal to talk about. 2 slightly jiggity-jaggedy plateaus with multiple entries in each side. Basically, 3 and a little mini extra one there. This is, I mean, does that really comprise part of the plateau? Not really sure. A little bit mini plateau section there. But it's not going to curtail the movements of the players that much. It might divide up the center somewhat, so you're going to have a lot of conflict potentially here and in the top corners. That is the reclaim situation. Modest, but there is some to be grabbing early doors. A few big rocks kicking around, but again, nothing too extraordinary. And then we have lots and lots of mechs dotted around in the center, so map control going to be key. It really will determine who gets their hand on the lion's share of the mass. Generally the way it goes in most SOPCOM games, but especially important here, grabbing the center and the corners, because that's where all the juice is. Nothing, so to speak, for up for grabs on the plateaus. No mexes at all. It's all down on the valley floors. So we've been yabbering now for at least 4 minutes, and our ACUs have been making their ways out of the main base areas. They've had a little bit of chatter, some team sharing. Cheerios says, "Hey bro, are you kidding me?" Not sure what that was in reference to. Give me an NGIO. So a little bit of engineer sharing going on between the teams. T1 bomber out down in the bottom left-hand corner, taking the opportunity to pick off an engineer there. Nice little play from Tassin, causing some problems there for Delather. Delather's going to take the opportunity to get an early gun upgrade on the commander. Might need that before too long, as there's a steady inbound stream of units coming from Tassin now. Few labs in the mix, but also some Mantis to be wary of. But he's going to have his gun upgraded before too long by the looks of things. 28% done already. Another set of bombs away. That's now 3 kills for that bomber. Presumably 3 different engineers. There goes a 4th. This must be getting exceptionally tiresome for Delather, who must be hoping for some reprieve from one of his rearguard air players. It looks like nothing's inbound at the current time. And there's a second bomber out. This time it's from Just Men, who takes down another engineer over here. Delather not having a good time of it down in this bottom left-hand corner. 55% done on his gun upgrade. We've also got a gun upgrade on the way now for Tassin, who's gone straight for Tech 2. And it's making pretty good progress with that, up to 43% already. Finally, the bomber from Tassin gets shot down, and even in death it manages to take out an engineer and damage another one. Lands right on top of what was a trio of engineers, and those other 2 get wiped out by that other bomber from Just Men, but eventually that gets shot down also. Tassin's early harassing ground units make it into the main base now for of Delather, and looks like he might lose a mech or 2, or maybe not. Yeah, I thought he was going to stroll out of range before that died off, but he just about stuck it in there long enough before strolling out of range. Managed to get the kill. Nicely done. Another mech's under threat, but a THAM rolls off the conveyor belt. Engineers over here working on a PD. Units change their attack order onto that and then reprioritize the mechs, realizing they're not going to get that down. They're probably all going to die. Let's try and dish out as much damage to the mass producing infrastructure as possible. The 4th kill, 4th mech's kill, will elude them, however. That will survive on 84 hit points, so every cloud has a silver lining. That is Delather's. Another T1 bomber harassing. He's having a torrid time of things, assuming it's a he. Not that you should do that in this day and age. Gun upgrade on the way for the Kaiser in the top right hand corner. 24% done on that. Glassy advancing forward. No upgrades attempted as yet on his commander, or at least none completed. He could have potentially started one and abandoned it, but he hasn't been under an awful lot of pressure. I suspect if he'd started one, he would have stuck around to finish it rather than waste the resources. A few Mantis strolling forward for Caliber, getting wiped out there by Klaus and his forward vanguard. Caliber now 75% done on his gun upgrade. Looks like he should finish that. We've also got a gun upgrade on the way for Furfer, who's sitting in the center of a very nice crop circle he's just done. Isn't that lovely? Not sure what the purpose of that was. Doesn't look like he's sure either. Tassin advancing forward. Now, he got the T2 engineering suite, and he's plonked down a Cerberus turret in range of one of Delather's forward land factories, and it's just taking periodic pot shots at that, and then also interspersing fire with some crossing ISILs. Sorry, just making sure my phone is on silent there before it pings away at me. Delather now moving out from that bottom left hand corner at the very time when Tassin is moving up towards his base. This is a precarious situation. He's come around this plateau down here. I suppose looking to cause some problems, but he's all by his lonesome. He has no support whatsoever. He has got an upgraded comm. Excuse me. But one quick gunship attack, if there are any gunships kicking around. That's not one of them. We do have a T2 air factory, but that could potentially cause problems. Kaiser and Glassy look like they're thinking about getting into things in a big way up at the top. Glassy has the upgraded gun. So does Kaiser. Two very evenly matched UEF ACUs. And comparable sized armies, although actually it looks like Glassy has a slight numerical advantage. But look at this. The route that Delatha is taking, and now threatening the main base of Tassin. Where is Tassin now? Tassin has stalled on his forward progress. Has a decent amount of units just south of Delatha's base. Glassy has taken a bit of damage. Meanwhile, back in this top right-hand corner, it's down to just below 75% of his base health at about 9,300. Wilhelm actually still looking pretty healthy, and he's kept his comm sort of away from most of the T1 spam. Has just been firing into it, trying to pick off as many of those units while staying out of trouble. But now he has drawn the attention of Glassy himself. Glassy's advancing on that commander with his own, and was also for a moment there encroaching with the T1 spam. Wilhelm now sub 75% of his base health, 9,200 hit points there. Glassy on about 8,000. T1 bomber in over the top. I'm not sure who that was for actually, didn't get a chance to see, but he got shot down. But look at this! Delatha just wreaking havoc in the backfield here against main infrastructure, base infrastructure belonging to Team 2. Right behind Tassin's base here, firing into core mass points, T2 mass points no less, and taking them out. Has now got a Spectre on the comm, which could be problems. I'm going to go to split screen here because there's a lot to keep track of on multiple fronts. There's also a big fight kicking off in the center there, but I really want to keep an eye on these two specifically. Delatha, who's grabbed himself a nice rank in veterancy, he's now a 4-starred commander, 86 kills to his name. And look at the nuisance he is making of himself. Meanwhile, in the top right, Kaiser and Glassy continue to go at each other. And yet no major progress being made on either side. Glassy still seems to have more of a spam advantage. We have got these 4 factories up front. Well, we did have 4. One of them has been destroyed. Having a look, using the mini-map as best I can to keep an eye on what's happening in the center. Delatha, I cannot believe this. This deep into enemy territory. Why is there not a horde of gunships? Or better yet, a mercy strike? We have T2 technology as evidenced by this gunship. This is a comm waiting to go down right here, but looking back up to the top right, Kaiser Wilhelm has taken a bit of a battering. He is sub 6,000 hit points now. We're starting to see some T2 land tech emerge from Glassy at the same time. Glassy back up into the green now, 11,000 hit points for him, and in comes the spam, a mix of tanks and artillery. Wilhelm caught up on one of his own buildings there, has very little room to maneuver into the red now, sub 2,000 hit points, urgently needs a rank in veterancy, is not far away from it, but he's going to run out of time, and he goes down, the first casualty at 13 minutes and about 37 seconds. Ouch. Wilhelm looked like he was holding his own for a while there, but now Delatha is taking substantially more damage. There has been several new Spectres to show up on the scene. We'll go to single screen. What's he down to? 2,000 hit points, sub 2,000 with those massive alpha strikes coming off those Aeon gunships, sub 1,000 now, 800 hit points left. I think we're going to have our second casualty. Bosh, down he goes less than a minute later than Wilhelm. It is now a 5v5 with both teams losing a player from each corner. Full share is on in this custom game, and it was Klaus who inherited the rest of Wilhelm's stuff. Makes sense, he's sitting right by it. Glassy taking the opportunity to push forward and probably to take out what was a pretty hefty group of land factories up here at the top right hand corner. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 T1 land factories. Glassy with about 9,800 hit points on the commander. He's got a little bit of room to play with here. Doesn't need to be too concerned, although Cheerios has brought his commander in, and he must have... Has he airlifted him? He must have, because I saw him down here a while ago. That must have been an airlifted comm. Moved up to the top right to try and plug this leaky front line up here. Glassy now continuing his advance. Cheerios threw down a T2 PD, but it doesn't last too long. Glassy well and truly on the warpath here. A T1 PD right behind it doesn't fare much better either. Glassy with 10,600 hit points. The longer this assault goes on, the more hit points he seems to have, which is somewhat counterintuitive. And taking over control in the far west for Delatha is Furfer. Furfer, who's brought his comm down from the backfield to guard that front line. And we've actually got a strat bomber here and some ASFs buzzing around. So I'm wondering if that will be sent out anytime soon to cause a nuisance of itself. Advanced nano repair on the way for Klaus. So that is the second nano repair upgrade. He's already getting 92 hit points a second regen just off the basic one. When that finishes, that will be a truly nasty, nasty ACU with T2 engineering suite and gun. T2 engineering suite started for Glassy. Now, will this represent an end for his forward momentum? He's been pretty aggressive in the top right hand corner since the start of the game. T2 engineering suite could mean he wants to advance down here and secure this area with a forward outpost, start placing defenses and whatnot. Cheerios dropping further back and starting a new group of defenses. I think that's probably a sensible decision. Wasn't going to make much headway against that land force, which is pretty sizable, it has to be said. We've got pillars, we've got strikers, we've got Lobos kicking around. Excuse me. As per usual, getting over yet another bout of Lurgy. Not that I want my children to grow up too fast, but God, I can't wait for them to leave school and stop bringing home all of this gunk. Glassy with some probing attacks down here and realizing he's facing some stiff opposition from these emplacements. Decides against any further forward progress. I think that's probably sensible. We've got some blazes in here from Ayahuasca and even a handful of siege tanks. There's no way he's breaking through with what he's got over there. Ah, and there is the strat bomber. 2 kills to its name already. And a large group of mercies kicking around for Ayahuasca. Where is Glassy's comm? Well, he's just over here. But he has got personal shield. So that is 18,000 hit points on the comm and another 19,000 on the shield. So maybe he's concerned that he won't be able to break through with that. And of course, if there are any skyboxes in here, they will shoot that missile down all too easily. You can see the attack pings going down on that commander. And there are the skyboxes moving in behind. Quite a few of them. Wonder if Team 1 spotted the Mercy threat, and that's why those flak units were rushed to cover the comm. So Klaus moving forward. He's taking a little bit of damage, but look at that. 248 hit point a second regen on board that commander. That is disgusting levels of regen. Caliber dropping right back, has a couple of bricks with his comm, defending against some Ilshiva spam, which is coming his way. Doesn't manage to save some of these T2 mechs, or at least one of them going down. What's the overall state of play? We haven't had a great deal of forward momentum from Tassen down here against what was Delatha's old base, now belonging to FAF. He set up a little outpost down here, but otherwise I imagine he's just been teching up. While we've got sort of a lull in the action, we'll take a quick look at Eco. Team 1 ahead by about 50 mass in terms of generated Eco, but behind by about 10 or 11k in total. Glassy versus Cheerios. Up at the top right. What happened to those Mercies? Well, there they are. Some may have run out of fuel already. Klaus sets up shield on the front line. Ah, lovely overcharge there, taking out 3 bricks in one shot. Beautiful. Omi pinging the ACU. Precariously far forward, but he has got himself a nice shield gen, and he has dismantled his T2 engineering suite in favor of a gun upgrade, the second gun upgrade. So wanting to get a little bit more damage out of the commander. I suppose he's got a huge amount of HP on there already with the advanced nano repair, totaling some 46,900 hit points. Seriously tanky. But what have we got here? Inbound restorers. We've got strap bombers. We have a hardy group of air superiority fighters further down. Mercy's moving up against Glassy potentially. Here they go. Couple proc. They're all going to proc, but oh no, a few of them will get shot down by the flak, and you can see how much shield is still left. So many HP on that comm. Excuse me. And the shield, the base shield surrounding Klaus's commander capitulates, leaving Klaus somewhat vulnerable. You can see restorers locking onto him. There's not that many though, only 1 or 2. Large escort detail of air superiority fighters from both FAF and God of War. God of War, who's been a little bit quiet in this game so far. Just been sitting back here, teching up and what have you, expanding eco. FAF's forward base under pressure. Oh, but look at this. Oh no! Huge wave of bricks will get the job done, even if a couple of restorers can't. Yeah, that really was over-exuberant, shall we say, from Klaus, advancing too far forward, throwing down a shield gen, and as a result, getting himself blasted by a brick wall. Never a a good night out. FAF with double gun upgrade, an Aeon sniper comm, pretty good at defending bases or map positions at the best of times. Especially since there's not an awful lot of high-tech weaponry coming his way on the ground from Tassin down here. Tassin looking like he is going to opt for some standoff base bombardment tactics now to try and deal with this base once and for all. 4 units of artillery, 4 Gunthers queued up there, complete with their own T1 P-gens for accompaniment. Rate of fire increase. Some Ilshivers getting a bit above their station there. Bernie's turn up to slap him back down in his place. Nice little mercy attack on the first experimental that we've seen in this game so far. This one belonging to Caliber. Engaging large swathes of inbound Aeon units from Ayahuasca. Doing exactly the right thing, keeping his range, trying to minimize damage on the spider bot, letting that big sweeping laser handle everything else. Transport shot down by God of War. And some bricks making their way into potentially more sensitive territory. They will get caught by some of this spam from Ayahuasca, but most of it is T2, although actually we do have a few harbingers in this mix. Bricks are going to turn around, realizing they are not probably likely to make it all the way to one of these bases. So, where was Klaus's base? Was this it? I think it might well have been. So, Cheerios now handling what looks like 4 bases, but it can't be 4 bases. No, this wasn't a base, was it? This was just a forward outpost. So, sitting on 3 bases, his own and both of his demised teammates, Klaus and Kaiser. T3 upgrade on the way for Tassin, who has abandoned the Gunther production. Or not so much abandoned it, but the engineer got destroyed. Alas, that would have been nice to see some Gunthers go up there. It would have caused all sorts of problems for FAF, although FAF, I know he's there, sitting in that base still, but now Homie has come to join him. And an Ethota out onto the field. Looks like it's heading up towards the northeastern corner. Wonder if he can sneak up to Glassy with that. Pretty tall order. And then suddenly all was quiet. We've got a RAS upgrade on the way for Cheerios. Let's have a quick look at the eco side of things. So Team 1 ahead in generated eco by about 200 mass per tick, and they're up by a good 50k mass in total. Players faring the best in terms of eco are Ayahuasca, who has gained control over all of Tassin's stuff. Tassin, who's just handed everything over, probably feeling like he wasn't faring too well. Maybe he was distracted or something. Of course, that is a 1400 rated chappie giving everything over to a 1200 rated chappie, but we won't question his motives. Tsar under construction in Ayahuasca's main base. Def with it we can't push, says FAF. Yotha on me. Air help please. So Glassy happily recognizing the threat in time, asking or requesting for air assistance. those Percys really could do with targeting that Ethota and bringing it down. But that's a large force moving into this forward outpost. Lots and lots of Othams. Glassy had been setting up shop with some Ravagers. But that forward position is probably going to fall. He manages to evac his commander on board a kindly donated Dragonfly. And he manages to evac to safety. Now, how far will this push from Chirios get? Good unit comp. We've got shield coverage in here. We've got flak. Lots of tank-based firepower and an experimental to boot. Although the experimental is sitting at about 2/3 health. Taking a bit of a kicking getting through that initial outpost. But all the defenses were wiped out and only 1 or 2 factories remain. Now we've got a second group of units heading up to the northeastern corner, probably to wipe all of this infrastructure out. Certainly wouldn't be a terrible idea. Now look at this, nice teamwork here. Bricks dropping back for Caliber, trying to cover Glassy's base. He went straight home. He's got the T3 engineering suite on board the comm, so brought all of that tech build power back with him. And is spamming up Ravagers. Oh, and we got a Megalith inbound as well from Caliber. That should be enough to seal this front line. Air battle ensues overhead. Chirios going after God of War's fighters. Furfers getting stuck in as well from behind, and that's going to go Team 1's way quite comfortably. Was not even close at the end of it, although there's a second group of fighters, of course, up here belonging to Ayahuasca. Oh, so many Percivals died in that. Very unfortunate there for Glassy. But there's no way this chicken is making it to the main base. Gets blown apart by that crab and those Ravagers. But look at this assault that's kicked off across the board. Massive assault through the center from Just Men and from Ayahuasca. Ayahuasca also attacking from the southwest. We're finally going to see an end to Delatha's old base. 31 minutes down in this game. You can see Chirios now expanding up to that top right hand corner. Plenty of mexes to get his hands on. Arbs rolling up now on the forward positions of Holme. Sad face about the inbound attack. Certainly looks menacing if you're rooting for Team 1. Some pretty good forward progress. However, we have multiple experimentals on the field. I'm surprised this hasn't been redeployed in towards the center. I suppose it would have taken a long time to get there. And there is this other threat. Chirios not done yet with these attacks on the top right hand corner. He didn't stick around with the second group of reinforcements just to secure this area. No, he has stayed on the front foot. I say he might have kept his eye on it. He hasn't kept his eye on it at all. That Megalith is literally parked up on a stakeout. But someone's fired a nuke. Who is that and where's it going? I hear you say. There it is. Jeez. Well, do you know what? It was coming out of this area where there's a lot of yellow, so leave me alone. It's going deep. We have Just Men's comm here. I'm doubtful that that would have been the target. Oh, no. It was his base, however. And there is no strategic missile defense in play to shoot that puppy down. So, Just Men loses his base. Now it's even more imperative that Team 2 really make some headway with this attack. Dulatha's old base has been destroyed. Homie, though, manages to complete a megalith. Might just about manage to keep his base alive. Maybe. No guarantees at this stage. In come the whaler gunships from God of War. That will certainly help. What are they targeting? They're going after the defenses to begin with. There's the attack order on the T3 mexes and the mass storage. But they are rapidly running out of units. That megalith soaking up a lot of the inbound damage. And I think that will be the end of that little attack. Just men with a dangerous group of sniper bots in the center, but they are definitely vulnerable to air attack. There are gunships lurking around here which could be sent in to dispatch them at any time. Glassy with another inbound Ethota. And there is the Tsar from Ayahuasca. Haven't had a chance to see how we're doing on ASF numbers. 129 with an extra 24 bingo on fuel there for Furfer. God of War, other air player on Team 1, 61. Ayahuasca with a mere 27. Cheerios with 76. So Team 2 need to probably not have that puppy on the front line. Very vulnerable right now. There is the attack order. Shields evaporate in a millisecond and the armor disappears a second after that. Donut dead, blown out of the sky. And now we've got some counter movement from Caliber. That stakeout that Crab was on is finished. He's out of steak pie and Cheetos. Or Twinkies, is it? Oh, and that was a legitimate Control K. Homie had enough of this life, bowing out. He didn't have an awful lot of stuff left. It gets transferred over to Glassy. Did more or less cripple him, that last attack on the bottom left-hand corner. So I guess he feels like what he has left would be better, or of better use in his teammates' hands. I mean, he must have had to go somewhere, otherwise he would at least stay in the game and utilize your commander. A few strap bombers queuing up at the top right-hand corner now for Caliber with their stealth mode activated. What will the target be, I wonder? Well, they're not going for total surprise. Picking off some clumps of engineers as they go. Megalith now doing its backtrack and fire routine. Manages to kill off an inbound Ethota. There are a lot of siege tanks here, and that Megalith down to just 13,000 hit points. HP plummeting all the time. You would imagine that would be priority target. There's also a megalith down here belonging to Glassy. And that was obviously Holmie's one. Assist pings on Tassen's comm, who has finally left the position down here. And I thought he transferred it. Maybe he just transferred the bottom left-hand corner stuff over to Ayahuasca and kept his main base. But he's certainly in control of his main base stuff for the time being. Mercy strikes. T1 bomber attacks. Team 2 throwing absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink, at this crab, trying to bring it down. It's deep into the red on 26,000 HP. Top right hand corner now devoid of all experimental presence. And an inbound GC down the center from Furfa. Has taken a bit of damage, though, down to about 62k. And this air issue is certainly a problem for Team 2. Roving bands of gunships now, just targeting vulnerable resourcing options at will. Oh, and they found a comm. Tassin getting picked off by that massive horde of whalers belonging to God of War. Team 2 are responding with their fighters. They're going to shoot down as many of these gunships as they can. Might just get all of them. Look at that. All of the whalers blown out of the sky. Those ASFs of Cheerios then move on to the fighters of Furfa. Starting to see some support commanders out on the field. Oh no! Oh no. We have a teleporting commander equipped with telemaser. Where's he going? There's the portal, and he's going after Cheerios. Cheerios, who's outside the shield, gets on the move, trying to get some coverage, but the shield will only last so long. Engineers get straight to work on some T1 point defense. Cheerios can't make the next shield coverage. Gets himself detonated a good 10 feet from the edge of that shield. Caliber focuses in on those units of T1 PD that were just being constructed. He is trying to get himself out of here. Teleport out. Nice rank in veterancy. Gets him back up into the green, but some mercy strikes almost cause him a few problems, but he does get out. That was a very successful telesnipe. And now it is literally a 2v4 with Ayahuasca in control of the bulk of Team 2's forces. Just men concerned with a little stretch down the center there. But that really was a textbook telesnipe. Caliber, it wasn't even that close to killing him, to be honest. Some 9,800 hit points on the comm at the present time. I'll be very happy with that, that's for sure. ASFs tangle over the center. Let's have a quick count, see where we are now. That was a pretty nice engage just before Cheerios went down on those whalers. And then on the fighters of Furfa. So, Ayahuasca, with 42 fighters to his name. Furfa. There's a spy planes, Guile. Well done. With just a paltry 13 and an extra 4, which are bingo on fuel. God of War with some 34. So mild air advantage, maybe, arguably, for Team 2. Nice little push in the southwest now from Ayahuasca. Sending up a GC and a Monkey Lord. After what was Holmie's old base. There is a crab waiting for them, however, and some inbound restorers. No, Fat Boy coming in as well from Glassy in the top right-hand corner. Just Men and Ayahuasca moving into position with a couple of chickens to cover that angle. Got an inbound air encounter. Yes, we do. ASFs moving in to engage those restorers. He's got his fighters separated into 2 groups.
Strategic launch detected.
Second nuke out from Team 1. The restorers have largely survived. The experimentals got into the base and have hit it pretty hard. There's not going to be an awful lot left at the end of it. Nuke out from Glassy, I think. There it is. It's going deep. Hasn't been shot down yet. It's going after Ayahuasca's air production facilities, and it's going to get them. Boom. That really will hurt. Oh, and look at this. We have a decent amount of T3 static artillery, which I completely missed, which has been firing away and going deep. We do have a brand new emissary, though, from Ayahuasca. Ayahuasca with a massive shield grid covering his comm. But look at that. A few hits from those disruptors. And they don't last long at all. And now we have 2 more nukes out. We've already seen how, I was about to say patchy, but it's just completely lacking Team 2's strategic defense system is. Front line hit now from the first missile. Second missile going to the top right hand corner. Actually going after some of these Othams. Manages to grab a decent number of those. Strats in after the Ethotas. Feels like we have one big push left now from Ayahuasca and Just Men on Team 2. If they can't score a critical hit with all of this, total DPS 27,000 just for Ayahuasca in that army, and another 8,000 for Just Men. Major units of interest, of course, the Megalith and the Ethota. Oh, so there were 2 Tsars in this game. We only caught the demise of one of them. Oh, and Caliber went for the second tele-snipe attempt. Are there any comments back there? No, it wasn't a tele-snipe. He went for infrastructure but got himself killed. So it's now a 3v2. Victory goal for Team 2 is now marginally less daunting than it was a moment ago. Support Commander about to get it for God of War. Where is God of War's comm? He's up over here. They'd love to silence these cannons, that's for sure. And look at some of these mass fab farms he's got in here. God of War pulling in 639. Glassy pulling in 640 odd, something like that. Ouch. Furfa manages to get a GC in behind that inbound Megalith. Oh, dearie me. Do not sit there. Carry on sending them forward, surely. I suppose there are units of PD you're worried about, but... Ooh, I don't know about that. Looks like it might be a missed opportunity, although there's a Monkey Lord sitting there guarding that base. Another one coming out from Glassy's base. Managed to kill a nuke launcher, and to their credit, a whole load of power as well. But that will be the end of the Ethota, and now these Othams. It's just a case of tidying them up. Just Men. I mean, he's got a lot of lightning tanks in here, and he's got sniper bots, but he's got no real hard-hitting firepower in that mix. He has got an Ethota coming up behind it, but that's why he couldn't just go storming in. There wasn't really anything there in that initial pile of units. One of the Monkey Lords dealt with, but there's another one on more or less full health. That one of God of War's guarding that base. 2 Othams and a Percy get into this side base over here. Glassy says, what's an insane game? It was pretty insane. Oh, but look at this. Just Men caught by those restorers. Oh, almost survived, actually. But, yeah, they wouldn't have survived that. Massive group of Percivals just pushing down from that top right-hand corner. The attack on the ground over here petering out as that Ethota meets face-to-face with a Colossus. The Colossus always likely to win that engage. Hoovering up those extra units to the side. And now the Percivals advance on Ayahuasca. who has that one emissary. Not sure what it's firing at with it angled up towards the top right-hand corner. Going after engineers working on a fat boy. Curious decision, said Alice. Percival's advancing on the final objective. Go blappity blap blap. Aeon shielding, holding for the time being, but you know it's only a matter of time. That's far too much inbound damage. There it goes. The shield capitulation is real. Where is the comm? He's standing right in the middle of it all. And boom, baby! Down he goes at 48 minutes and 25 seconds. That's a wrap for Team 1, who held out remarkably well against that final attack. Team 2 just didn't have enough oomph left in them to breach this base. I thought there was a moment there where I thought maybe we would have the comeback of the century, but alas, it wasn't to be. Team 1 too much in control by the end there. And you can see the final totals, 3.4 million versus 2.99 million. That's a pretty solid advantage. And is that the kill-loss ratio? 0.75 for Team 1 versus 0.46. Pretty cool. Drop me a comment down there if you'd be so kind to tell me how you're doing, because I'd love to know. And while you're down there, love, give us a like and subscribe, and check out the video description for links to Patreon. It's the best way to support me if you've seen everything on the main channel, even though that's a tall order. We've got some 81 or 2 casts on there now on the Patreon side of things, premium content for a mere $1 a month. I'll also get access to the Discord as well. Would love to come and see you join my little mini community. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.